Aloha Yellow 6. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Today is Monday, October 26th, and we are going to start on Quarter 2 Social Studies Portfolio 2, which is on the Golden Goblet. This is a literature book that we have selected for you to read this quarter because it'll take us to ancient Egypt, someplace that we studied before. Now, the Golden Goblet is a Newbery book, and so it's a really good book. Now, according to our Social Studies Portfolio 2, December 9th will be the last day to receive points for the assignments on this portfolio, and December 10th, our portfolio is due. Now, if you look at this portfolio 2, it consists of the Golden Goblet assignments. There's 19 assignments. You have a Chapter 1 crossword puzzle. Chapter 1 and 2 covers questions. Chapter 3 on Egyptian gods. Chapter 4 writing assignment. Chapter 5 afterlife checklist. Chapters 3 to 6 questions. Chapter 7 puzzle. Chapter 8 writing assignment. Chapter 9 mapping Thebes. Chapter 10, the Kefs of Egypt. Chapter 7 to 10 cover questions. Chapter 11, clay seal. Chapter 12, setting identification. Chapter 13, puzzles. Chapter 11 to 13, questions. Chapter 14, Egyptian head mask. Chapter 15, fill in the blank. Chapter 16, writing assignment. And chapters 14 to 16 will be questions. All of these assignments and tasks will cover the Golden Goblet assignments. It'll make one grade. Okay? Then the other grade is going to be based on your formative assessment. And lastly, your third grade will be based on the summative. Okay? So these 3 grades will make up your Social Studies Portfolio 2 grade. Now, let me take you to the Golden Goblet. Okay, in the Golden Goblet, you'll be having 2 resources. One is going to be assignments, and this is what the book looks like, the Golden Goblet. And these are the different activities that you will be involved in working on. As I mentioned, there is going to be approximately 19 different activities for you to do. Okay, and you'll be doing it and be assigned to it as we read the different chapters. We'll go ahead and give you an assignment of which activities to do. Okay, so that's our Golden Goblet assignments. Now, you also will have this Golden Goblet resource. Okay, resources. So with the resources, I want to take an opportunity to just read this first page or second after the title page to give you some background information, because when I start reading chapter 1 to you, you are going to hear some of these words mentioned. So at least it'll give you some background information of who they are. So what is Keft, Ka, and Ba? Keft is a ghost, a spirit of someone not able to get to the afterlife. Now, let's take a look at this ancient Egypt Ka video, short video.
So what was a Ka in ancient Egypt, and why did you need one to get into the afterlife? By the end of this video, you'll know the 3 things that are essential for understanding the Ka and why it was so important to the ancient Egyptians. Welcome to Voices of Ancient Egypt, where we demystify the words and lives of the ancient Egyptians through animated videos like this one. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss future videos like this one. The ancient Egyptians had what might seem to us a very strange and complex set of beliefs about the person and how it had multiple parts, both physical parts and spiritual parts. Today you're going to learn about the part that they called the Ka, which you may have seen translated as double, spirit, or vital force. This last translation, vital force, is probably the most accurate translation we can get in English. But what was the Ka really, and why was it so important? Let's jump right into the 3 things that you need to know in order to understand the Ka in ancient Egypt. Number 1, the Ka came into being before a person's birth. The ancient Egyptian god named Khnum, who was a potter, that is, someone who makes pottery, was believed to fashion people on his potter's wheel before they were born. And we can see in scenes of the king's divine conception and birth that he's shown creating not only the body of the king, but also the king's Ka. That's why in scenes like this one, you see a picture of 2 identical children on Khnum's wheel. One is the body, and one is the Ka. The person's Ka was created at this time because it was the essential life force or vital spark needed to live. It was needed for animating the person, that is, allowing it to move around, and also for allowing the person to be able to breathe, eat, smell, and so forth. So is the Ka's role during life making sense so far? If so, let me know by writing "for my Ka" in the comments below. Number 2, the Ka separated from the body at death. When a person died, the Ka could separate from the body but stayed close by in the tomb. It usually resided within the body or within a statue or painting of the person. The importance of the body as a home base for the Ka after death is one reason why the ancient Egyptians took such extensive care in treating the body before burial. Sometimes they even preserved it extremely well through processes that we call mummification today. Because the Ka stuck around in the person's tomb, the ancient Egyptians even sometimes called the tomb, quote, the house of the Ka. Now this is in contrast to other parts of the person like the Ba, which traveled outside of the tomb regularly. Number 3, the Ka still needed food and drink after death. This last one is especially important to understand if you want to understand why the ancient Egyptians did a lot of the things that they did after a person died. Because the Ka, or life force, continued to exist after the body died, it still needed food and drink, just as it had during life. This is why ancient Egyptians brought what we call today food offerings to the tomb, basically just food and drink. And this was so that the Ka could receive nourishment from the essence of the food and the drink. Now, the Ka did not literally eat the food, as clearly if you went back and checked later, it was still there. The ancient Egyptians were not stupid. But they conceived of the Ka as being able to absorb the nourishment it needed from the food and drink without actually consuming it or destroying it. This is why wooden models and paintings of food on tomb walls were so important. If people forgot about you after a while, especially after everyone who you knew during life was also dead, these pictures and models could stand in for the real thing and allow your Ka to be able to absorb the nourishment that it needed. For the Ka to be able to figuratively eat and drink the food offerings, whether they were real or paintings or models of them, in this way, a ritual called the opening of the mouth needed to be performed during the funerals, and this was done on the body of the person as well as on any images of him, that is, either statues or paintings. And this was done in order to make the senses active again, so that the Ka could do things like taste, smell, see, and hear. And this was, of course, vital for being able to eat food offerings and drink the drink offerings, to allow the Ka to live on after death. So there you have it. Now that you know what you need in order to understand the ancient Egyptian Ka and how it lived on after death, what food offerings would you want for your Ka? Personally, I'd want pizza. So what about you? Let me know in the comments below what food you'd want for your Ka. You can also let me know on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, and so this is about Ka. Now let me take you back. So Ka, they believed every ancient Egyptians, was born with a Ka that was uniquely theirs. Each Ka was a life force. The Ka is sometimes represented in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics by a drawing of a very little person standing next to a picture of the same person drawn much larger. Sometimes the Ka was represented by two arms outstretched. This was to ward off evil. When a person died, their ka continued to live. A ka needed the same nourishment that a person needed, even after they died. That's why the ancient Egyptians painted a picture of food on the walls of their tombs. They believed the ka did not actually eat these paintings, but rather absorbed the life-giving force they represented, so the ka could live forever. The ancient Egyptians believed that your soul split into two parts after you died. One part, the ba, flew off every morning to keep watch over your living family. The other part, the ka, flew happily off to enjoy life in the land of two fields. At night, both the ba and the ka returned home to your tomb to rest up for the next heavenly day. Okay, and let me just share a little bit about the ba.
What the heck was the ba in ancient Egypt, and why did you need one for getting to the afterlife? By the end of this video, you'll know the 5 essential things that you need to know in order to understand the importance of the ba. Welcome to Voices of Ancient Egypt, where we demystify the words and lives of the ancient Egyptians through animated videos like this one. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss future videos like this one. The ancient Egyptians had what probably seems to most of us as very strange and complex beliefs about the parts of the person, in that there were both physical and multiple spiritual parts of a person. Today, I'll introduce you to the part that they called the ba, which you may have seen in many places translated as soul or as mobile spirit. Now, this last description, mobile spirit, is probably the closest we can get with English terminology. But what was the ba really, and why was it so important? Let's jump right into the 5 essential things that you need to know in order to understand the ancient Egyptian ba. Number 1, the ba existed after death. While there are some mentions in Egyptian texts of bas existing during a person's life, particularly while they slept and dreamt, the ba seems to have primarily functioned after death. During the opening of the mouth ritual that was done on a person's body during the funeral, the ba would be released from the body and now able to travel. Number 2, the ba was the personality or character of a person. So unlike the ka, which seems to have lacked a distinct personality, the ba retained a person's personality and character after death. For this reason, it's not surprising that this part of the person is the one that needed to travel through the underworld and then finally be judged and found worthy to be able to get eternal life in the afterlife. Number 3, the ba was pictured as a human-headed bird and could travel among both the living and the dead. Bas are typically shown as birds with human heads. This form of a bird is probably meant to let us know that the ba is a very mobile part of the person. It was able to leave the tomb and travel amongst the living as well as among the dead. The human head, on the other hand, often looks just like pictures of the dead person. And this is perhaps to let us know that the ba kept a person's unique personality and identity. Now, it was the ba that traveled through the underworld, hopefully avoiding the many dangers involved with that journey, to arrive finally at the Hall of Judgment, where his or her heart would be weighed on a scale to see if he had acted the way that he should during life. That is, in accordance with a concept that the ancient Egyptians called ma'at. If he passed, he was able to enter the afterlife. But if he didn't pass, his heart would be devoured and he would die forever. So do you think you would pass this test? Let me know by clicking on the cards for this video and answering the poll. Number 4, the ba could change into many different things. So in order to make it through the dangerous journey through the underworld, the ba could take on many different forms. Most commonly, these forms were various types of birds, but it could also change into other things. Basically, whatever would be most handy for trying to escape the particular danger that it was going through in the underworld. So are these things about the ba making sense so far? If so, let me know by writing ba in the comments below. Number 5, the ba needed to be able to return to the body. Despite the emphasis on the Ba's travels, it also needed to be able to return to the burial and unite with the body. Multiple texts in what we now call the Book of the Dead are concerned with helping the Ba and the mummy reunite. In fact, it seems that returning to the tomb to unite with the body and with the Ka, as well as passing the divine judgment that we just talked about, both needed to be done in order for the person to become what the ancient Egyptians called an Akh. That is, a powerful kind of spirit that could live on with the gods and also take on some of the powers of the gods. So now that you know the 5 things that were essential for understanding the ancient Egyptian Ba, which thing is your favorite of the 5? Is it that the Ba kept your personality after death? Or maybe that it could travel? Or was it that it could change into many different things? Let me know in the comments below what's your favorite part of the Ba. I can't wait to see which one is your favorite.
Okay, and that's a video on the Ba. Okay, so let's return. So as you can see, Ba, the Ba was your personality, whatever made each person unique that was not physical. Your humor, your warmth, your charm, yourself. The Ba is pictured in hieroglyphics as a bird with a human head. The Egyptians thought birds were able to fly between worlds, that of the living and the afterlife. Okay, so what I had just gone over with you is just basically giving you background information about the Kefs and the ancient Egypt Ka, as well as ancient Egyptian Ba. On the next slide, slide number 3, I'm going to ask you, as background information, to take a look at this anticipation guide. Okay, so for the Golden Goblet Anticipation Guide, you're going to read each of the statement below. Think about the statement carefully, and I want you to place a check under either the agree or disagree column based on your personal opinion. Be prepared to share your opinion during class discussion. So the first statement, it is important to support and help your friends when they are in trouble, even if it means putting yourself in danger. Please mark what your belief is or your opinion, whether you agree or disagree. The second statement, older brothers and sisters are always mean and get angry at their younger siblings. Agree or disagree? Third statement, if someone is doing something illegal or harmful, it is right to report them, regardless if they are a friend or a family member. Agree or disagree? Next, everyone demonstrates courage at some point in their adolescent years and gets rewarded for doing so. Agree or disagree? Next, it is essential for everyone to have hopes, dreams, and aspirations for the future. Agree or disagree? Artisan occupations are better than construction occupations. Agree or disagree? And last, the ancient Egyptians did some things just the same way we do them today. Agree or disagree? Again, the ancient Egyptians did some things just the same way we do them today. Okay? And this is a matter of your opinion. So it's not saying it's right or wrong answers. It's how you feel. Okay? So now, after doing this and after sharing with you that first slide, please take a look at your Chapter 1 vocabulary words. You have crucible, which is a vessel made of material that does not melt easily, usually for high temperature chemical reactions like a melting pot. Ingot, a mass of metal cast in a convenient form of shaping. Amulet, An object worn, especially around the neck, as a charm against evil or injury. Annealing, to make less brittle by heating then cooling, as with glass or steel. Tempered means hardened. Ingratiatingly, in a flattering manner. Sibilant, of, characterized by, or producing a hissing sound like that of s or sh. Servile, abjectly submissive, slavish, of or suitable to a slave or servant. Sidle, to move sideways. Frond, the leaf of a fern. Scribe, a public clerk or secretary, especially in ancient times. Bosses, knob-like ornaments. Studs, diffident, lacking confidence. Fowler, a bird catcher, someone who hunts wild birds for food. Surly, rude, unfriendly disposition. Briskly, roughly, in an abrupt manner, and graven is sculpted. Okay? For each chapter that we read, you will have a vocabulary list. So it's important that you study these words and their meanings because you will have a test on it. So you need to study these words, okay, and memorize and know the meanings for it. All right? So you will find all of your vocabulary for the different chapters under these Golden Goblet resource. Okay? Thanks. We're going to start with chapter 1 shortly.